And we continue. I found us some waves and a squeaky bridge. I hope we enjoy it. Thank you for being with me. Page 86 from Blues and the Poetic Spirit. Yet as we have seen, there has been much confusion regarding exactly what is heard in the blues. Some say the blues offers a realistic picture of black life in America. Others suggest that the blues are poetic in the sense of meeting traditionally established academic standards. It has even been suggested, believe it or not, that the blues are a form of religious poetry, i.e. secular religion by Gruber. There are also those who threatened by the notion of an unrepressed eros would have us believe that we are hearing only undisguised savage cries and certainly not art. We say that affixed securely as it is to the cause of human emancipation, the blues as a truly creative and poetic activity needs no further defense. It suffices to set forth examples by way of illustration of its vast scope and magnificent depth. Our elucidation of the blues as a primitive is neither gratuitous nor demeaning, for we see in the blues a suggestion of humanity's original vitality and pride. Our conception of primitive merges with our conception of non-alienation. What we seek in the blues is a glimmer of freedom, and it is there in every song. This freedom must be viewed dialectically, however. While it is indeed the freedom implicit in the creative process, and as such a potentially common property, and while one of the blues' most intriguing facets is its closeness to its instinctual sources, as well as its own particular form of secondary elaboration, the blues singers are also victims of all the repressive conditions which contribute to the degradations of everyday life. In their songs, then, we see not only an especially eloquent demand for freedom, but once again, owing to the level on which the blues operates, a particularly vivid depiction of humanity's repressed state. There is misery in the blues, but in spite of or because of its specific framework in Black America, the misery is also our own. Part of the unique attractiveness of the blues is that it is through the blues singer that we are not only able to face our own despair, but can also demand an end to repression and insist on the eroticization of everyday life. That the blues singers present us with a vision not only of our unhappiness, but of its conquest as well, is the most crucial aspect of the poetic activity elaborated in the blues. Oh, I gotta get a break. I was waiting on the other one to upload and made myself thirsty. Alright. The first category on this video, page 87, travel. Here's something written by Joyce Mansour. My signpost fingers, pearly with pleasure, will guide your eyelashes toward my ears, my shoulder blades toward the open country of my flesh. We can expect to encounter both of these trends in any of the diverse subjects to which the blues singers are drawn, not the least of which is that broad body of topics which can be subsumed under the general heading travel blues. As early as 1926, Odom and Johnson noted that the song of the po' boy long ways from home who wanders down that lonesome road is rich in pathos and plaintiveness. They devoted a chapter not devoid of a modicum of psychological insight to songs of the lonesome road, while Oliver from 1960 dealt at length with the same material. Oliver's discussion was meant only to explore the relationship between the lives of the singers and the words of the songs. The lyrics were usually taken by him at face value, and as a study of the blues, as a sociological reflective device, his work is unequaled. Yet it cannot be overemphasized that the blues also reflects a state of mind, and it is precisely this mental activity which gives the travel blues their great significance and appeal. It is simplistic and naive to assume that the underlying motivation of the travel blues is only the singer's desire to go north and escape the horror of discrimination in the South. The contribution of segregation to migration as a theme in such songs should not be minimized, but neither should it be allowed to obscure other relevant material. The desire to travel is found in all of us, for we are all victimized by the same repressive society, and it would seem that the harsh, prejudicial system of the South operated specifically to intensify and revivify a desire which, under present conditions, is inevitable. The most superficial psychological analysis of the lyrics cannot help but reveal that in addition to the colossal atrocities commonly perpetuated by racists, the blues singer also falls victim to the common ills of repressive civilization. Aggression and ambivalence, as well as the pall of white Southern bigotry, drive the blues singer to flight. Still, we should not be surprised to see that here too mechanisms other than repression are operative. And thus, though the blues songs we are permitted some insight, and thus through the blues songs we are permitted some insights into the entire phenomenon of traveling. There is an undeniable sexual contribution to the pleasure in traveling, and thus appears in the blues in several forms, not the least of which is the use of cars and car parts as sexual references. Trains, too, are seized upon for their sexual significance, as in this humorous couplet of Blind Boy Fuller's. All right, here we go. Called Passenger Train Woman. Well, the time I need you, mama, that's the time you're gone. Well, the time I need you, mama, that's the time you're gone. I believe you got ways like a passenger train, When one's getting off, the other one's getting on. Often the power of the train symbolizes the superior power of the father, and it's the mean old train or the cruel engineer that takes the bluesman woman from him. This is not to deny that many women must have left their men by boarding trains for new towns, but unconscious Oedipal and pre-Oedipal conflicts may be revived, and the unconscious associations contribute to the singer's choice of symbols. Here's another one by Charlie McCoy, titled "That Lonesome Train Took My Baby Away." It ain't no telling what that train won't do. It'll take your baby and run right over you. Now that engineer man ought to be shamed of himself. Take women from their husbands, babies from their mother's breasts. While the flight north has been dwelt upon by Oliver and others, attention should be drawn to the fact that it is primarily a leaving home, and for each song dealing with leaving home, there is another. I'll be home someday. For what is left behind is the mother and father, guilt from incestuous longings and repressed aggression, in addition to social conditions. What is sought is non-repression. The sexuality of infancy cannot be found out on the road, and we then hear... Okay, here's something by Robert Hill called "I'm Going to Write and Tell Mother." I'm going to write and tell Mama for to please my... Oh my goodness. I'm gonna write and tell Mama for to please, ma'am, send for me. I'm gonna write and tell Mama for to please, ma'am, send for me. All these women, they don't treat me like I need to be. Here's another one by Leroy Carr called "Cruel Woman Blues." Well, I left home for this woman and went into the world alone. Well, I left home for this woman and went into this world alone. Now I'm sorry, so sorry, that I ever left my home. Here's another by Sonny Jones, titled "Won't Somebody Pacify My Mind." I'm gonna leave here walking, make home my second stop. I'm gonna leave here walking, make home my second stop. I'm gonna find my mother, she's the only friend I got. Leaving implies returning. What is sought is being left behind, only to be sought again. There we go. Looks like there's more to that one. I'm leaving here, Mama, don't you want to go? I'm leaving here, Mama, don't you want to go? Because I'm sick and tired of all this ice and snow. When I get back to Memphis, you can bet I'll stay. When I get back to Memphis, you can bet I'll stay. And I ain't gonna leave until that judgment day. This part is spoken, but for us, all this is spoken. Lord, if I just had railroad fare, I wrote my gal a letter way down in Tennessee. Lord, if I just had railroad fare, I wrote my gal a letter way down in Tennessee. Told her I was up here hungry, hurry up and send for me. That is by Memphis Jug Band, called "Going Back to Memphis." The ambivalence is inescapable. All right, here we go. This is a long one by P.D. Wheatstraw, Sweet Home Blues. I was thinking about going home. I don't believe that I will go. I was thinking about going home. I don't believe that I will go. I'm going to stay away a long time. Ooh, well, like I did once before. Alright. I try to be good every place I go. I try to be good every place I go. But now you know there will come a time, ooh, well, I will have some place I know. Now if I go home, do you think that is the best place to be? Now if I go home, do you think that is the best place to be? Well, then again, if and I go home, ooh, well, now, do you think she will be mean to me? Sweet Home Blues. All right, we continue. The link between time and space is not lost in the blues. There is a realization that what is sought for in space, from south to north, must be sought for in time, from adulthood to childhood. At first, perhaps, the suspension of movement is our only glimpse. After all, why travel if the goal is unattainable? Here's something written by Memphis Jug Band titled Beale Street Mess Around. I can sit right here, think 1,000 miles away. Then there is a vague comprehension that traveling is, after all, a mental activity. Excuse me. This one is written by Robert Johnson called Love in Vain. Well, the train has left the station with 2 lights on behind. Well, the train has left the station with 2 lights on behind. Well, the blue light was my blues, and the red light was my mind. But the realization dawns fully and eloquently in Long Ago Blues by Georgia Tom. Is deprivation being left, or is childhood being sought? Here we go. Georgia Tom's Long Ago Blues. I didn't have no stocking. I didn't have no shoes. I didn't have no troubles. And I didn't have no blues. But that was long ago. I mean, it's long ago. Now we used to have a good time. Tell you, that was long ago. The blues singer has been cast as the wanderer. Many of them still spend much of their lives on the road, while the blues singer has rarely, if ever, been the subject of psychoanalysis. The chronic wanderer has. Otto Finchel, 1945, says this: the usual restlessness in the wanderers is rooted in the fact that, for the most part, the protection they seek once more becomes a danger, because the violence of their longing is felt as a dangerous instinct. To make comparative rest possible, the situation to which they are running must be near enough to the original unconscious goal to be acceptable as a substitute, and at the same time, far enough removed not to create anxiety. When at home, the seaman thinks this place will be at sea. When abroad, at home. This ambivalence, the dilemma of the sailor and the sea, is superbly exemplified by Uncle Bud Walker's classic line. Alright, let's see. I want you to stand still, suitcase, till I find my clothes. titled Stand Up Suitcase Blues. And this verse by Kokomo Arnold. I'm scared to stay here, scared to leave this old bad luck town. I'm scared to stay here, scared to leave this old bad luck town. But when I wake up every morning, my head is going round and round. Titled Bad Luck Blues. Alright, hang on, let me get another sip. One long paragraph left. And the song's about travel. We have seen that the songs reveal various levels and processes of mental functioning, various mechanisms of dealing with the conflictual disharmony of everyday life. Yet the songs themselves are mechanisms for dealing with despair. And while Freud has offered the term sublimation as descriptive of the mechanism whereby instinctual impulses become transformed into instincts with social, cultural aims, the blues operates on a level which is at once creative, poetic, and revelatory, unalienated of its instinctual sources. Not surprisingly, while acting themselves as mechanisms for dealing with despair, the songs deal with other, more conscious mechanisms for handling the despair that confronts the singer. One of the favored mechanisms is flight, travel, fight, or aggression was inhibited through the fear of death or castration, a fear which in the South was entirely reality-based, reactivated from its infantile prototype, giving a peculiar sort of legitimacy, not only to Freud's theories, but to the white Southerner's conception of the black as a child, with the whites as often the simultaneously benevolent and hateful parents. Deprived of an outlet for aggression by the whites' atrocious techniques of mastery, self-perpetuated by the whites by the internal inadequacy of the technique and its constant need of reinforcement. The black finds his aggression released on other blacks or turned inward. Such is one source of despair, and indeed, in a clinical discussion of depression, David Rubenfine from 1968 suggests, we may therefore infer that rage goes hand in hand with the experience of prolonged frustration, and that this rage, when it fails to elicit response, that is, to alter the environment, results in exhaustion and feelings of helplessness. Here, then, is the earliest experience of loss, which results in the model for the genesis of depressive effect. The description of an infantile source of depression portrays vividly one of the psychological outcomes of black life in white America. Also, it portrays the inevitable fate of humanity at the mercy of modern civilization. All right. The next category is alcohol and drugs. Excuse me. This is written by Antonin Artaud. As long as we haven't been able to abolish a single cause of human desperation, we do not have the right to try to suppress the means by which the man tries to clean himself of desperation. Drugs like heroin, alcohol, are seized upon as weapons against the horrors of human existence, and as means for dealing with such conflicts. They are mentioned frequently in the blues. Here's a song by Blind James Campbell called Sitting Here Drinking. You know I'm sitting around here drinking just to help me to forget. You know I'm sitting around here drinking just to help me to forget. My baby left me this morning. I haven't found that woman yet. Well, my baby left me this morning. She said, James, I'm going away. Well, my baby left me this morning. She said, James, I'm going away. But I'm still sitting around here drinking. I ain't seen that girl today. For the vast majority of the black working class, alcohol was far more popular, not to mention cheaper, than heroin. Even marijuana's use must be considered minimal in comparison with alcohol consumption. Those who drank were often aware of the debilitating effects of alcohol, but the debilitating effects of civilization seemed more horrendous. I guess I'm gonna have to roll the window up. Roll the window up kind of violently. Alright, here we try this again. But the debilitating effect of civilization seemed more horrendous. This is a spoken one by Tommy McLennan called Whiskey Head Man. This is Tommy McLennan, the one who put out the whiskey-headed woman blues instead of putting out the whiskey-headed woman blues. I'm gonna put out, he's a whiskey-headed man, just like myself and all the rest of you whiskey-headed men. Now here's the song. Now he's a whiskey-headed man and he stays drunk all the time. Now he's a whiskey-headed man and he stays drunk all the time. Now just as sure as he don't stop drinking, I believe he's going to lose his mind. Now every time I see this man, he's at some whiskey joint, trying to catch a big bet so he can get another pint. 'Cause he's a whiskey-headed man, etc. Here's another, as Blind Blake sang it. Woo, called Fighting the Jug. I went home last night, my baby won't let me in. I went home last night, my baby won't let me in. She made me mad and I got in my gin. I've been drunk so long, dizzy all the time. I've been drunk so long, dizzy all the time. And I found out whiskey ain't no friend to me. When I die, folks, without a doubt. When I die, folks, without a doubt. You won't have to do nothing but pour me out. I can't sleep and I can't eat a thing. I can't sleep and I can't eat a thing. The woman I love has driven me to drink. I'm deep in a hole somebody else has dug. I'm deep in a hole somebody else has dug. Getting sick and tired of fighting that jug. Oh Lord, I can still see myself. That's not good. I have the wind and me. Alright, here we go. We continue. The last verse contains the implications of a partial disclaimer of responsibility, one which we can only echo. in imagination as well as in reality. Alcohol releases inhibitions and aggression, and is no doubt sought by many for that very reason. The dealer asked me, "Petey, how come you so rough?" The dealer asked me, "Petey, how come you so rough?" Well, now, I ain't bad, ooh, well, but I just been drinking that stuff. That stuff will kill you, but it just won't quit. That stuff will kill you, but it just won't quit. It will get you to the place, ooh, well, that you don't care who you hit. I've been drinking that stuff, and it went to my head. I've been drinking that stuff, and it went to my head. It made me hit the baby in the cradle, ooh, well, and kill my papa dead. It made me hit the policeman and knock him off his feet. It made me hit the policeman and knock him off his feet. Taking his pistol and his star, ooh, well, and walking up and down his beat. I've been drinking that stuff. I've been drinking it all my days. I've been drinking that stuff. I've been drinking it all my days. But the judge gave me 6 months, ooh, well, to change my drinking ways. That was Petey Wheat Straw, Drinking Man Blues. Let's see. For some, whiskey is the only thing that makes civilization bearable. Here's a Whiskey Man Blues by Black Bottom McPhail. McPhail. Alright. Well, I drink so much whiskey till they call me Whiskey Man. Well, I drink so much whiskey till they call me Whiskey Man. Lord, I get drunk every morning with the whiskey bottle in my hand. Lord, my baby treats me mean. She keeps me worried all the time. Lord, my baby treats me mean. She keeps me worried all the time. And if I didn't drink my whiskey, I believe I'd lose my mind. When I drink whiskey, I don't mistreat my friends. When I drink whiskey, I don't mistreat my friends. I am sober now, but I'm gonna get drunk again. Lord, whiskey, it don't mean me no good. Lord, whiskey, it don't mean me no good. And I would stop drinking that whiskey, baby, if I only could. Hey, I like that one. Lord, whiskey is killing me. Lord, whiskey is killing me. And why can't I stop drinking whiskey? Lord, I just can't see. My baby put me out. I'm just going from hand to hand. My baby put me out. I'm just going from hand to hand. And I drink so much whiskey till they call me Whiskey Man. That was a good one. I like that one. Alright, on page 94, the large number of references to alcohol in the blues, and there are hundreds, throws into stark contrast the relatively few mentions of other drugs, heroin, marijuana, and cocaine. While I have dealt with the subject in another place, the incredibly compelling contents of the songs warrant our giving them more attention here. Heroin became illegal after 1914, marijuana after 1937, Alcohol was illegal with the passage of the Prohibition Act, although plentiful and accessible. From 1920 through 33, the entire range of the vintage blues recording years. It remains to be seen, however, exactly how many blues artists were drawn to heroin or cocaine. The statistics regarding drug use in general are usually those statistics circulated by the government and are consequently quite biased, fraudulent, and valueless. Regarding the blues singers, however, we have only a little more to work with. Clarence Williams, jazz pianist, songwriter, and producer, has been quoted as saying, "But I never knew hardly any musicians that took dope. It was mostly the girls." J. Mayo Williams, one of the most prominent A&R men and talent scouts for the blues recording industry, could only recall one incident involving any of his artists and marijuana, but it must be admitted that his administrative position might have precluded the establishment of any sort of intimacy during which drugs use would be revealed. A rather spotty sampling of personal interviews indicates that marijuana was around occasionally, mostly in association with jazz artists, and that heroin use among blues singers was relatively rare. Nonetheless, the blues singer champion Jack Dupree recorded 3 songs about heroin, each marked by his own sardonic humor. The first was Junker Blues in 1941. And here that is. The one he wrote in 1941. They call me a junker, 'cause I'm loaded all the time. I don't need no reefers. I be knocked out with that angel wine. 6 months ain't no sentence, and 1 year ain't no time. They got boys in penitentiary doing from 9 to 99. I was standing on the corner with my reefers in my hand. Up stepped the sergeant, took my reefers out my hand. My brother used the needle, and my sister sniffed cocaine. I don't use no junk. I'm the nicest boy you've ever seen. My mother, she told me, and my father told me too, that junk is a bad habit. Why don't you leave it too? My sister, she even told me, and my grandma told me too, that using junk, partner, was going to be the death of you. His second version was called Junker's Blues from 1958. Spoken. My, sick as I can be. Some people call me a junker 'cause I'm loaded all the time. I just feel happy and I feel good all the time. Some people say I use the needle, and some say I sniff cocaine. That's the best old feeling in the world I've ever seen. Say goodbye to whiskey. Lord, and so long to gin. I just want my reefers. I just want to feel high again. Oh yes, I'm a junker. I feel all right. Some people crave for chicken, and some crave for porterhouse steak. But when I get loaded, Lord, I want my milk and cake. Oh yeah, that's all I want now. They call me a junker 'cause I'm loaded all the time, but that ain't nothing if I feel good all the time. At the same 1958 session, Dupree recorded can't kick the habit. More somber than the first two, the pessimistic mood of this song is shattered by Dupree's remarkable candor in the last line. Well, I can't kick this habit, and this junk is killing me. Well, I can't kick this habit, and this junk is killing me. Ever since I started this habit, everything's been down on me. I hung around my friends and smoked reefers, and I thought I was doing all right. Now I've lost a good woman, and I have no place to sleep at night. Well, I went to the doctor. See, could he cure this habit for me? Well, I went to the doctor. See, could he cure this habit for me? He looked at me and shook his head and said that dope is killing me. And this part's spoken. Yes, I know it's killing me, but I feel good anyhow. I wish I had listened to what my mother said. She told me that dope wasn't no good. I didn't pay it no mind. I thought I was doing all right. Now I'm just as sick as I can be. It don't pay nobody just to live their life so fast. It don't pay nobody just to live their life so fast. If you just take it slow and easy, just as long as this habit lasts. Dupree's songs are remarkable for the striking portrayal of the ambivalence in the addict, the conflict which is itself revealed by each shot. Dupree suggests that the lot of the addict is not an entirely miserable one, while the following song, Knock Myself Out, implies that misery precedes drug use. In this case, marijuana, the drug being resorted to when other defense mechanisms fail. Here we go. This one is by Yak Taylor, called Knocking Myself Out. Cool, it doesn't repeat. Listen, girls and boys, I've got one stick. Give me a match and let me take a whiff quick. I'm gonna knock myself out. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna knock myself out gradually, by degrees. I started blowing my gauge, and I was having my fun. Spied the police, and I started to run. I was knocking myself out, etc. But the very moment I looked around, my mind said, Yak, throw that gauge on the ground. The policeman said, just kill yourself. The policeman said, just kill yourself. He said, knock yourself out, Yak, gradually, by degrees. I used to didn't blow gauge, did nothing of the kind, but my man quit me, and I changed my mind. That's why I'm knocking myself out, etc. I'm gonna blow this jive. It's a sin and a shame, but it's the only thing that erased my heart off of my man. When I knock myself out, when I kill myself, I just knock myself smack out, gradually, by degrees. Marijuana was also the theme of one of the more popular blues called If You're a Viper. Dreamed about a reefer, 5 feet long, mighty mez, but not too strong. He'll be high, but not for long, if you're a viper. I'm the queen of everything. I've got to be high before I can swing. Light a tea and let it be, if you're a viper. When your throat gets dry, you know you're high. Everything is dandy. Truck on down to the candy store. Bust your conch on peppermint candy. Then you'll know your body's scent. You don't care if you don't pay rent. The sky is high, and so am I, if you're a viper. Rosetta Howard with the Harlem Ham Fats, if you're a viper. That drugs provide escape from the misery of life, there is no doubt. But there is indeed another dimension to drug use, hinted at by Preble Casey from 1969. Given the social conditions of the slums and their effects on family and individual development, the odds are strongly against the development of a legitimate, non-deviant career that is challenging and rewarding. If anyone can be called passive in the slums, it is not the heroin user, but the one who submits to and accepts these conditions. Indeed, there is much more to be said, notwithstanding the simplistic vulgarism that heroin is merely a capitalist plot to enslave the minds of the proletariat. For Preble and Casey's observation, coupled with what we have seen in the songs, suggests the rediscovery of the poetic dimension of drug use as a revolt against everyday degradation. By refusing to accept the enslavement imposed by bourgeoisie society, the drug user expresses a specific form of negation, the negation of despair, and the definite, but hardly definitive, negation of bourgeoisie civilization as a whole. Let us recall here the use of narcotics by a long tradition of poets, from Coleridge and Poe to Francis Thompson and Harry Crosby, from Baudelaire and Gautier to Roger Gilbert Lecompte and Antonin Artaud. From the poetic standpoint, drug use in and of itself is of comparatively minor interest. Far more significant is the specific use made of drugs for poetic explorers and provoking inspiration. Some poetic thinkers, in fact, have utilized their drug experiences as points of departure from elaborate philosophical investigations. Thomas de Quincey, for example, avowed that he wrote his Confessions of an English Opium Eater to reveal the power that belongs potentially to dreams. And the American Benjamin Paul Blood, following years of extensive use of nitrous oxide, ether, and other substances, tirelessly defended his conception of the anesthetic revelation, founded on the principle that naked life is realized only outside of sanity altogether. Here, as elsewhere, inspiration retains its centrality in human experience. It is only the academics, then, who will wonder or care whether Victoria Spivey really used cocaine or not when she made Dopehead Blues. For it is in this song that we find the convulsive liberation of the image that so closely links the blues to the boldest efforts of modern poetry, the images of desire, at once of the unconscious as well as the conscious, set free. Just give me one more sniffle, another sniffle of that dope. Just give me one more sniffle, another sniffle of that dope. I'll catch a cow like a cowboy, throw a bull without a rope. Doggone, I got more money than Henry Ford or John D. ever had. Doggone, I got more money than Henry Ford or John D. ever had. I bit a dog last Monday, and 40 doggone dogs went mad. I felt like a fighting rooster feeling better than I ever felt. I felt like a fighting rooster feeling better than I ever felt. I could have pneumonia and I still feel like I've got the best health. Say, Sam, go get my aeroplane and drive it up to my door. Say, Sam, go get my airplane and drive it up to my door. I think I'll fly to London. These monkey men make mama sore. The president sent for me. The Prince of Wales is on my trail. The president sent for me. Prince of Wales is on my trail. They worry me so much, I'll take another sniff and put them both in jail. All right, let's see how far this is. Come a long way. Okay, I'm going to stop here for things I can see that you cannot. Oh my goodness. Got some red today. Now we're, all on the same page, so to speak. I appreciate you being with me today, letting me read to you. Here's what we're reading. Blues and the Poetic Spirit by Paul Garon. And we'll continue.